Today is January 7th. It is the new year. Woohoo. Uh-huh. Not much has changed. I was really sick for like 3 weeks. Starting to feel human, which is exciting. So, it's 4:43. I got some not so great news. My brother is really sick. He's in the hospital. I don't know how long he's gonna be in the hospital. At least a month. He is not doing well. I'm very concerned for him. So if you could just, keep my family in your thoughts, and if you pray, that would be great. This is gonna be very difficult for my family, especially his wife, who I've considered a sister since they started dating. And his emotional support dog has cancer, so she's got 6 months to live, and I know this is destroying him. This is destroying our family. She's the youngest in their clan, and she's the last one we thought would go first. Their oldest dog is like 14. And while I was sick, I feel like I went backwards kind of, because I didn't really understand how much energy it takes to regulate your emotions when it's not something that comes naturally to you. So I'm kind of just getting back into the swing of things and kind of working on understanding myself better. I have a list of things that I want to research for borderline personality disorder, and one thing that I did research already was maladaptive daydreaming. And I sent that video, or I sent a Snapchat to a couple friends. One friend asked what it was, and then unfortunately, while I was responding to that friend, I found out that my brother was in the hospital. And then a couple other things I want to research is micropsychotic episodes, hallucinations. I have a list right here. That's why I'm looking at it. Idealizations, devaluations, the concept of radical acceptance. So, these are things that I want to research with my sister, because sometimes when I research things and symptoms and just behaviors of people with BPD, I already, people with borderline personality disorder have a poor self-image. They already look at themselves and think, oh my God, like, you suck. You just, it's hard to believe that we deserve to exist. And so sometimes we look at these symptoms, or these things that we experience, and sometimes we can take them one or two ways. We're like, oh my God, this makes so much sense. Or we can look at it and we're like, oh my God, this makes me want to die. And sometimes these symptoms, and if we do research by ourselves and we're not in a good state, or we potentially can take these the wrong way, and it can make us have an episode and we're not even aware of it. So I personally like to have a support person with me when I do research, so that way I have a voice of reason. I have someone with me who's like, hey, this could be taken this way, or so that's why I was okay doing the maladaptive daydreaming, because I wanted to see if it's what I thought it was, and it is. So basically it's kind of just like, for me at least, it's I'll have like where I'm like just kind of it can go on for quite a bit. Like, it can go on for hours. Like, you'll just kind of get lost in your head. And I used to say, like, I'll sit here and it's not like nightmares, but like it's almost like I'll get lost in my head, and it's like it creates a narrative, and it's almost like a nightmare, but it's not, because it's like I can't control it, but I never had like the words to describe it. But maladaptive daydreaming is basically like where you get lost in your head and you just can't really control it. I don't know. I would just recommend Googling it because I can't really describe it. But essentially, it's like I would like sometimes lay down and sometimes I would close my eyes, and I have a very active imagination. And sometimes my mind would just wander, and it would wander to like a not great place, and I couldn't like, it's almost like intrusive. Like I couldn't get my mind to stop, and it was like a movie would play. And I I don't know. I don't really know how else to describe it. But essentially, I couldn't control it, and it scared me. And that's not all maladaptive daydreaming is, but it would go on for like a long time. But yeah, so that kind of helped because it was like I couldn't put a word to it, I couldn't put a name to it, so that was nice that I could like put a name to it. And I'm learning that like everything correlates with itself, like, like ADHD and autism kind of correlate, and I'm not like diagnosed with autism, but like I've spent like over 5 years researching, and I'm I'm not saying like I'm autistic, but like I have a lot of symptoms, and I just believe that it would make sense if I am autistic. And autistic people are highly sensitive, and it would make sense if I was autistic because I'm highly sensitive, and it would make sense if I was autistic because my father gave me borderline personality disorder. And you can get borderline personality disorder from severe trauma between the ages of 2 and 5. And my father severely traumatized me between the ages of 2 and 5. And I've just been highly sensitive, my whole life. And I just believe that I mean, I'm not sitting here self-diagnosing, and I refuse to do that. I just think it would make a lot of sense. And I'm gonna leave you here because my mother is calling me.